Alright, so I'm gonna tell you guys the story of a time that I played, the one and only time that I played with a Ouija board. I've only played with a Ouija board one time. And this was whenever I was exactly, I know for a fact, I was 16 years old. So whenever I was 16, at this point, I had already moved away from my home city. So I used to live around 3.5 or 4 hours away from where I currently live now. And I grew up from, let's say kindergarten, until my, sophomore year of high school. So that's really where I'm from, to be honest. That was my hometown, you know, that was where my best friends were at. You know, that's where I grew up at, dude. And so the reason why I say that is because at this point in the story I'm about to tell, I had already moved from that city to my current city where I currently reside. And at the age of 16, you know, I was like, you know what, dude, I need to go see my friends. So I went back to that city. And so I go back to that city and I link with my best friend. His family was pretty much like my family, dude. His mom was like my second mom. You know what I mean? It was that kind of vibe, you know? And so I hit them up and I'm like, yo, can I come stay over there? And they're like, yeah, dude, like, get your ass over here. We're ready. So I, at this point, like I said, I'm 16, so I already have a driver's license and I already have my own truck. So I drive the 3.5 or 4 hour drive to my old city, and I pull up on my old homies. And the two people I go and see is my friend Dylan, which he was my best friend when I lived there. Absolute best friend all through the whole time I lived there. And also his brother Parker. And so I pull up on Dylan and Parker. Hey, what's the deal, bruh? So at this time, I'm smoking weed very heavily. And the first thing I do when I touch down, me, Dylan, and Parker go and cop a zone of that loud. So we cop a zone of that loud. And, you know, we're blowing down, you know, the whole type of vibe, you know what I mean? And then we get the bright idea, hey, let's play a Ouija board. So which was, in hindsight, was not the best idea. And so we go to the mall, the local mall, and we go to Spencer's, because we had already researched online that you can get a Ouija board there. So we go to Spencer's, and sure enough, they have a Ouija board there. So we buy it. I don't remember how much it was, maybe $25, $30, I don't remember, something like that, maybe 15, I don't know, dude. But it came with the whole kit, the actual board itself, and then also the piece that you and your friends put your hand on, and supposedly the spirit moves the piece around to certain letters on the board to fill it out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll have to search it up because it will show it. Anyway, we go and buy this Ouija board, and we set the board up in Dylan's room, which he's the older brother, just to, you know, paint a little bit more of a picture. And we set the board up in Dylan's room, and we start asking it questions. Now, to be honest, I don't exactly remember the questions that we asked, to be honest. I actually don't remember. But the board didn't work. So we're like, yo, what the heck? Anyway, it wasn't too much of a surprise. We're like, yo, I guess this doesn't work. And so we had tried it, it didn't work. And so we put the board up. We're like, you know what, whatever. No big deal. And so after we tried the board out and it didn't work, we just put it away, like I said. And so after we put the board away, we just kind of, you know, hang out for the rest of the day. And then comes nightfall. And so me and Dylan decided it's a great idea that we want to go to the local skate park, which, keep in mind, this is kind of a small town. So like the local skate park is right down the street from us. Maybe, I don't know, let's say 5 to 7 blocks. It's very close in proximity. And also, just to paint more context for this story, some of you guys might know, I was a BMXer slash skateboarder, mainly BMXer, but I used to skate and BMX back in the day. And we go to the same skate park that I pretty much grew up at. Like, dude, this was my spot, dude. Every day after school, I'd go there with the homies and we would just shred, you know what I mean? And we go to the skate park for one reason. We weren't skating or biking because it was dark. It was nighttime. We go there and we park in the parking lot just to we park there just to go smoke that loud in the parking lot, you know? And keep in mind, I had done this a million times at this point. The main spot that I was smoking at was in my vehicle, like at certain spots, because like I said, I was 16 years old. I was trying to keep it from my parents. So we leave Dylan's house, go to the skate park, and park in the parking lot. We start blowing down that loud, just parked in the parking lot. We're parked in the parking lot, just blowing down that loud, actually a hot box. So we're hotboxing my truck, just blowing down that loud, like I said. And then I just see red and blue lights flashing behind me. I'm like, nah, this cannot be happening. And sure enough, a police officer walks up to my window. And he knocks on the window. What am I supposed to do at this point? Nothing. At that point, you're out of there. So I roll down the window, and like I said, we were hotboxing. So the smoke just starts roaring out of the driver's side window and right into the officer's face. That loud just starts going right in the officer's face. He immediately tells me, step out of the car, and I told him, no, I'm not stepping out, dude. What do you mean? And he said, dude, we have probable cause to search this already. You need to get out of the vehicle. Keep in mind, I live in Texas, so that loud is pretty much, it's a drug where I live at. It's not legal. There's nothing cool about it. It's fully illegal. So I step out of the vehicle, and at this point, I look over. Dylan is bawling his eyes out. I'm like, nah. So I step out of the vehicle. The police officer searches the car, and obviously he finds that loud. I don't remember exactly how much we had, but it was for sure a misdemeanor amount. So it was it was under 2 ounces for sure. And he finds that loud, and he tells me, you know what, y'all are cuffed and stuffed. So I immediately get in the cop car, and I am transported straight to the juvenile jail, because like I said, I'm only 16 years old. And my parents did not know at this time that I was blowing that loud. So unfortunately, they were informed that I was blowing that loud. And keep in mind, I'm out of town, so they're not even there to come pick me up. They are 4 hours away. So before I get ahead of myself, they tried to call my parents that night, but my parents were not answering the phone, because by the time we were already booked into the jail and stuff, it was already well past 12 at night. So our parents were not awake. They were not answering. There was nothing we could do. So guess what I had to do? I stayed the night in juvenile jail. And after they arrest me, like I said, it's super late. So they make me dress out into the jail clothes. I go into the cell and I just immediately went to sleep, dude. Immediately, as soon as I touched down into the, I'm not kidding, it was literally like a cement bed, but with a little mat on it. Not comfortable at all, but I just lay down and I just go to sleep. I'm like, dude, what else am I gonna do? Like, I'm out of there. So I go to sleep and I wake up the next morning to them trying to bring me breakfast. I let them bring it in, but I did not eat it, dude. I did not have an appetite. I was sick to my stomach, dude. And so finally they get a hold of my parents, Dylan's parents, and they tell them the situation. And so Dylan's mom comes and gets us, and luckily, by the grace of God, they let Dylan's mom get me out instead of me having to wait for my parents, because like I said, my parents were 4 hours away. Dylan's mom comes that next morning, gets me and Dylan out of the juvenile center, and as you can imagine, we got the ass chewing of a lifetime. And yeah, pretty much we got the ass chewing of a lifetime. Dylan's parents took us back to their house, and then my dad came and picked me up 4 hours away. And so get this also, when they arrested us, they had my truck impounded. So me and my dad had to drive to the impound yard, get my truck out of impound, and then we start the 4-hour trip back. And that was my first ever time getting arrested. It was sickening, dude. Like, it was horrible. And so the reason why I tell that story, so after I got arrested, I had to do juvenile probation, which is nothing crazy, you know, just urinary analysis, just, you know, drug tests every so often. I don't remember how often, but I was getting drug tested, and it was probably about for like 6 months, and then I was off free and clear. But I did get arrested and that happened. But the reason why I tell that story is because the same night that I was arrested, that's when we used the Ouija board. And keep in mind, I had already been smoking weed for, like, dude, probably a year, maybe a year and a half, in my truck every day with nothing happening. You know, I never got pulled over, I never got searched, I never got anything, dude. Except for the night I used the Ouija board. That seems kinda weird to me, chat. So, pretty much what I'm getting at is the only night I've ever used a Ouija board, for some reason, that was the first time I ever got arrested. Now, I'm not saying they exactly have a correlation to each other, but don't you guys find that kind of weird that I had been doing the same thing for over a year, and the only time I've ever used a Ouija board is the time I get arrested? Nah, that sounds kind of crazy to me. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Did the Ouija board somehow get a demon, you know, to make that happen? Or an entity? I don't know, chat. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, because to me, seems kind of weird. To me personally, I do feel like the Ouija board is the reason why I was arrested that night.